the Everything But Politics podcast.
Everything But Politics, episode 164. We're back with a new look. I'm alongside my brother Ethan and Evan Leeser, and we're joined today by Nick Steven Manca. Nick, great to be with you, brother. Thanks for taking the time.
No. Thank you for having me, all three of you. It's a big day. 164.
Yes, sir. That's a special number now. I know you were just in Japan. That looked really sick. I'd love if you could start by telling us about your trip, what you were doing out there, and maybe some things you learned while being out there.
Man, so Japan, I was there for 10 days. So like literally off the first day of me being there, it immediately became my favorite place that I've traveled to. And I've done a lot of traveling. Japan is amazing. I highly recommend it if you guys haven't gone. I learned a lot, man, honestly. Like I went there for vacation and then it ended up turning into like somewhat of a work trip last minute. I got an opportunity to do a speaking engagement over at One Oak in Tokyo, which is arguably like the biggest, most popular club in Japan. And I learned a lot. You know, I did a cool post on my Instagram on some takeaways on the Japanese hospitality. And off the rip, you realize how nice people are. That was the first thing I noticed. Number two, it's super safe out in Japan. No matter where you go at any time of the day, it's super, super safe. The cleanliness is next level. The fact that there's not one trash can in sight in public and there's no trash on the streets, that blew my mind. Like from the jump, I was like, wow. Like the fact that there's no trash on the streets and there's no trash cans was insane to me. Are you guys planning on going to Japan anytime soon?
I mean, we'd love to. There's nothing on the calendar right now.
I think now we gotta think about it.
The other crazy thing to me was how quiet it is. Like when you ride the trains, nobody's like talking in the trains, and if they are talking, they're like almost like whispering. They're like super respectful. You know, with being loud in public, and even on the streets, you're walking down the streets of Tokyo, and it's packed. There's people everywhere, and nobody's screaming at each other. No one's blasting music. Cars aren't honking at you. It was a bit of a culture shock.
So, Nick, outside of the neatness, what are some of the key differences between the hospitality in the United States and the hospitality in Japan?
Well, the main thing is the no tipping culture.
Hmm.
I
You
know
know,
that.
and growing up in the States, you go to Starbucks and they serve you a cup of black coffee and they're expecting a tip in return. And then when you don't tip them, they look at you like something's wrong with you. You go to Japan and you have, you know, go to a Michelin star restaurant, you have one of the best meals of your life and you have exceptional service and the experience is even better. And then at the end, when you're paying your bill, they don't even expect any tip. So what I realized was that it's not transactional in Japan when it comes to hospitality. It's all about, you know, curating a special experience for each guest that walks in through that door. They take a lot of pride in their jobs out there. So that was like the main thing that I noticed.
Well, one of the things, so you've seen it all being in Miami, but from a culinary perspective, how was the food out there with the sushi and whatnot, everything that you experienced? That's probably the main reason I would want to go is for the food.
So I wouldn't say I'm a foodie, but you know, I obviously love food. I'm not picky. I'm down to try all sorts of new things, and the food there it's all high quality. Like the fish, the meat that you're eating, it's all super high quality. And then for the price that you're getting it at, some of the meals I was having out there that cost me like $100 would have cost me $500 US out here in the States. So you do get a little bit spoiled when you go to Japan and you're eating all this high quality food, especially for the price that it's priced at. And then you come back home and you're like, oh man, like now I got to pay top dollar to have like the Kobe beef or,
Yeah.
you know, the sushi, and it's all super fresh and it's the best, honestly. And the other crazy part of the food is the 7-Elevens. You walk into 7-Eleven in Japan and it's actually like gourmet food. It's not processed. It's super healthy for you. And it's a normal thing to eat at 7-Eleven in Japan, like breakfast, lunch, dinner. 7-Eleven in America, it's like I'm just going there, you know, to pump gas or get a slushie or something. I'm not eating food at
Yeah.
7-Eleven in the States, but it's definitely you get spoiled with the food out there.
So, Nick, now you're back in the States. You guys are about to have your busy months coming along with the holidays. What kind of preparation goes into preparing for Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, spring break, even?
Yeah, so right now, come this time of the year, like right after Halloween, it's nonstop in hospitality in Miami, all the way from here, I would say down to about June, and then it slows down a little bit, becomes a little bit more intimate. We're a well-oiled machine now, going on 12 years, so we're well prepared, for the busy season. One of the main key ingredients to having a successful season is just making sure that your team is prepared for it. You're always going to have some new people on the team, and you want to make sure that you're giving them the right coaching during the summer, so that once that winter gets here, they're mentally and even physically prepared, for the long hours, for the big nights, and basically just prepared for anything.
As You Grow Old, out now on all platforms. The final song of Apollo Celine's debut album is officially yours. You never know. You listen to this one and you just might win. Thanks, and back to the episode. I'm super fascinated by that world, the nocturnal world that you're a part of, being that, the discipline required, the leadership. But before we get into all that, I kind of want to learn more about your upbringing, what you did growing up, how you kind of found yourself in this position. So let's take a step back. Let's go to like teenage Nick. Like, what were you into? What were some of the things that, you know, maybe led you to where you are today?
So I was always that kid in school. I was cool with everybody. I was cool
Yeah.
with the nerds, with the troublemakers, with the athletes, with the cheerleaders, with everybody. I had friends in all circles. And then it all started back in like elementary school in fourth grade. I fell in love with hip hop. I grew up on, MTV, VH1, Rhapsody, The Basement, 106 in Park, BET, all that stuff. And I started DJing. And this was way before there was Serato, which is that app that all the DJs use on their computers to build their playlist. This was back when it was just all vinyls, all records. So I was 10 years old, DJing all the birthday parties, all the school events. And that's like where it all started for me. That was my first passion. And then when I went to high school as a freshman, I had a friend of mine that was a junior at the time that just approached me and was like, "Hey, do you have any interest in selling tickets to this all ages event at this nightclub that was here in downtown?" Ironically, it was actually a club that was across the street from Club 11. And I ended up convincing my parents to let me sell tickets to this event. I was, trying to explain to them that it's just like a high school party at a nightclub. There's no liquor, it's just like teenagers basically. After convincing them, I sold like 20 tickets. I was able to go to the event, and then I immediately just like fell in love with the atmosphere, of the nightlife scene. From DJing to promoting, and then I just stuck with the promoting all throughout high school. And it got to the point where I was like doing my own events. Have you guys ever seen that movie Project X?
Yeah, of course.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that was like literally me and my group of friends all throughout high school.
Wait, Nick, where'd you grow up? You grew up outside of Miami, yes?
No, I grew up in Miami in Coconut Grove /
Okay.
Coral Gables neighborhood. I graduated from Gables High. I went to private school all my life, and then I got kicked out after my freshman year for, just getting into trouble and obviously, throwing parties. And then once I got to Coral Gables High, that's like when the whole promoting went, to the next level for me. Started organizing my own events. Come my senior year, I barely graduated, and right around graduation time, my father told me that he wanted me to go to college, and basically wanted me to stop doing all the party promoting stuff. And he's like, "Look, go to college. I'll give you an allowance where you can maintain yourself, and you could just focus on school." And I told him, I go, "Look, that's not what I want to do. I just want to continue promoting, and that's what I'm going to do." So I continued promoting, worked my way up, all the way up to I was 21. That's when I started promoting on South Beach. I was working at basically like almost all the clubs on the beach. And then when I was about 23 and a half, I met some of my current bosses at 11 right now, and I met the owners as well. And then right around the age of 24, I joined 11, and now I'm going on 12 years of being with the company.
Wow.
It's a long time.
Congratulations.
So when you were
Thank you.
when you were at that beginning stage of promoting, especially in the high school days, late teens, what music was really in at the time? Like, was this like a Avicii era? Like, when was this?
Yeah, it was definitely like the Avicii era. I remember my first time going to Ultra, I was like 17 or 16, and that was when like David Guetta was like
Yeah.
huge. Avicii was huge, Swedish House
Pitbull.
Mafia. Yeah, all of
Yeah, yeah,
that.
yeah. Got
So
it.
the genre was just a mix. It hasn't really much changed. Obviously, some genres become more popular this year and then they take the back seat the next year, but it was all like a mixture of hip hop, EDM, and like Latin music.
Got it.
Nick, how do you think the clubbing scene has influenced music within the generations? Like, have you seen that shift or things happen because of what's being played in the clubs?
Yeah, definitely. I would say DJs and artists as well, their team is always keeping, a close ear to like what's hot and what's not. Like I'm sure you guys are aware of like all the TikTok trends and how, some artists make music that's specifically catered to like TikTok creators because if the song blows up on TikTok, then the song is going to blow up on the charts as well and more people are going to play it, on their phones and inside the nightclubs and in the radios when they're driving. But the clubs, they definitely have an influence on what type of music is being played. I would say, right now, what's like super hot might not be what's hot next year, or what's hot right now might not be what was hot last year. It changes, honestly.
Yeah. Dude, I think
No doubt.
maybe a little like longer than a year duration, but one of the best examples currently, I'm sure you could attest to this, is rap music's less and less and less on the scene. I'm sure, especially being in Miami, you see a
Yeah.
lot of EDM, especially Latin music, but the rap music's really taken a hit in the last 2 to 3 years.
If you look at Coachella, they posted, it was like their last 5 years, somebody did a review on it, and every year the hip hop bookings continue to decrease. I think this year was like the lowest percentage over the past 5 years. Don't quote me on it. I think it was like under 10% of like hip hop acts. And right now you're starting to see that country is becoming more popular. Country's always been popular, don't get me wrong, but people that are listening to country now were not listening to country 3 years ago.
Why do you think that rap music or hip hop has taken this decline?
To be honest, it's just a mixture of things. I'm a big hip hop guy myself. I would just say maybe it's a lack of being original. Maybe that's one thing that is a reason behind it taking a decline. But hip hop has been around forever. It's taken a decline now, but a lot of other genres have taken declines and then they just spike back up. I think it's just a matter of like what's popular right now. But like I said, I don't see hip hop continuing to decline. It's just like what's happening right now. Who knows? Maybe in a year or two from now, it's back on top. You never know.
Yeah.
What another thing too about rap is it really peaked 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, and then like right around COVID, such less lower quality music was coming out, and then here we are 5 years later, and just plummeted. But what in terms of big revenue nights at 11, is there a common trend or theme among the artists performing?
I mean, obviously we have our certain acts that it's like always a win, right? Like every time we book them, it's always guaranteed a sold out night. And then it also depends on the type of weekend that it is too. Like you have to know who your audience is and you have to be booking the right acts on the right weekends. If it's a spring break crowd, that means that the crowd is a little bit younger. They're in their 20s and they're in their early 30s. So you might want to book a DJ Pauly D or a Little John or a Tyga for that week. But those are not the same acts that we would probably book during an F1, which is a older, more mature crowd. You just have to know who your audience is. But yeah, we definitely have a few people that no matter when we book them, it's always going to be a win.
How far in advance are you booking these acts? How much planning does it take to properly book?
Oh, months out, especially for some of the big weeks like your Art Basel, New Year's
Yeah.
Eve weekend, F1, Rolling Loud, Miami Music Week. Some of that stuff is planned, way, 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 way in advance. Because every now and then we might do multi-show deals with certain artists where, you know, one date could be for June and then the second date could be for Art Basel. You never know, but we're definitely planning way in advance.
Are you involved in that, or is that a separate booking department?
I am involved to a capacity. You know, I have been able to foster some really good relationships with artists themselves and artist managers and music agents throughout, you know, the 12-year, you know, span that I've been with 11 now. And then the ones that I'm not involved with, you know, I'm heavily involved on site. So what I mean by that is our talent buyer will book the talent, and then come show day, me along with a few other people will be the ones that are hosting them, like while they're at the club, making sure that, you know, everything is going smooth.
Your job is a lot of policing.
Yeah, I'm like the right title is called the artist liaison. You know, I'm the guy that
Yeah.
is in between 11 and in between the artist and their management team, making sure that both sides are happy.
Got it. So Nick, let's go back to the 23-year-old, your 23-year-old self. You mentioned that's kind of where you found this current gig, correct? Where you met
Yeah.
the main people at 11, and how did that lead to a full-time job and, you know, doing this the last 12 years?
So I met them organically, like it was never a planned thing. I was just out one night on the beach, and I met my current boss till this day, and then I ended up meeting his partner, which is my other boss currently, and then we just remained, you know, tight for a few months, and then it ended up what ended up unfolding next was them giving me the blueprint to 11, like, hey, we're here because we're, you know, networking and we're doing our market research because our boss is building this club that is going to be a 24/7 ultra club. And when they gave me the blueprint in the beginning, I thought, you know, they were a little nuts, right, with the concept. I didn't really think it was going to work in the beginning, but nobody really thought it was going to be a success. And then fast forward, the club, you know, was already being promoted. Everybody knew it was coming. And then I had an opportunity to join the team, and I made, you know, I took a leap of faith, and it was the best decision I've ever made.
Dude,
Beautiful.
you've seen Miami change a lot
Oh yeah,
in your time there. How
big
does
time.
being there, nearing in on 2026, what's that evolution been like, being there as a young kid to now as one of the global hospitality entertainment leaders in the entire globe, on the entire globe?
Mhm.
It's surreal, you know, it's all come full circle because people that have known me since the high school days, they've known that I basically like spent all my time, like, you know, as a teenager on 11th Street, because that's where all the clubs were at. You know, you obviously used to have club space there, but
Yes.
it was just a block filled with clubs. And that's where all of the events that, you know, I was a part of, that's where they all were taking place. So I've been able to see the evolution of just 11th Street go from what it used to be to what it is now. And it's something that it's worth making a documentary about, you know,
Yeah,
one
Yeah.
day.
it
A
really
hundred
is.
percent. And to see 11, you know, come, you know, start at what it was to what it is now, it went from just this ultra club to now this lifestyle brand with 11 different verticals, from 11 vodka to 11 sound, and then now to our hotel and residencies that is going to be across the street, you know, two twin towers. It's, like I said, it's something that they're going to make a movie about one day.
Ethan, Ev, and I talk about this all the time. If you're passionate about something, it could be anything, and you pursue it long enough, and you don't quit, and you keep improving, you're inevitably gonna find success in that thing. Because so many people quit, and I'm sure on your way to where you are now, there are people that you were doing this with 10 years ago that are long out the game. So can you speak on that persistence that, again, has found you to where you are today?
Yeah. So am I successful? Yeah, I'm successful. I found some success in hospitality. Am I where I want to be? I'm far from it.
Yes.
I think it all starts with you finding first like what you're passionate about. Then second, you have to find out if what you're passionate about is going to generate you enough money for you to have options in life and for you to be able to take care of your loved ones. And then once you figure those two out, then it's just green light. Just go, 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 and don't stop. I knew that I liked hospitality when I was graduating high school, and I knew that this is what I wanted to do forever because I fell in love with the feeling of making people happy and the quick cash. But I wasn't a professional at 18 years old. I would say I became a professional when I was 24, when I started working at 11. I thought I knew a lot about the business, but I really didn't know much until I started working at 11. And my biggest fear was graduating high school and not knowing what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And I still know people that graduated with me that are still trying to figure it out. And it's tough, when you're passionate about something, you're not necessarily gonna make as much money as you want in the beginning. You're not always going to get invited to the cool events. You're not always going to be on the priority list. You're not always going to get you're not going to reap the rewards in the beginning. I wasn't, doing the stuff that I'm doing now, when I was 23 and 24. But I think, if you figure out what you're passionate about, it's going to make you money and you just stay consistent with it, you're going to be successful at the end of the day.
What is something that you wish you knew when you were first getting going in the hospitality industry that you know now, something you would teach someone younger getting into this industry?
Two things I would say. Number one, don't worry about what other people are doing. Business
Like
is
that.
it's not fair. It's not business is not they don't your bosses are not going to treat everybody equal, and it's something that you're going to just have to accept. It's business is not fair. And number two, I wish I would have had the networking skills that I have now back when I was like from 18 all the way up to 23. It's a relationship game at the end of the day. It's all about who you know. And if I had to give advice to like my younger self or just somebody that was 23, like getting started in this business, it's those two things. Don't worry about what other people are doing and just meet as many people as you can.
Well,
Love that.
let's talk about networking. So that 23-year-old listening to this, he wants to be somewhere. He wants to be successful. He wants to, do it all, right? He's got big hopes and dreams, ambitions. He got to build a network first. Where does he start? What's the best way to go about that?
Super simple. Like the networking, it comes naturally to some people. Like for me, it's something that's easy. I find it very like easy to meet people. And people think it's really hard to network, but in reality, it's like so simple. Start off on social media. Like, how are the four of us doing this right now? Because you reached out to me through social media,
Yeah.
right? It's so simple. Get on LinkedIn, get on Instagram, create a nice profile, keep it professional. Don't be joking on the page. Like, keep it strictly professional and reach out to the right people. And you can meet so many people just off of using your phone without having to spend any money or without having to travel anywhere, where there's really no excuse when it comes down to networking these days. Then that's just the work that you could get done through social media. Now, if you want to take it, to the next level, you could start investing money and going to seminars and mixers and all of these networking events. But if you can't even network successfully through your phone, what makes you think that you're going to be able to do this when you go to an event with hundreds of people dressed in suits? It's a little bit more intimidating, right?
Yeah.
No doubt. No
Well
doubt.
said.
So
Well said.
so when people come up to you, they see you now. Was there ever a part of you that wasn't as secure socially from an extroverted
Oh,
perspective?
yeah, 100%. I mean, even starting working at 11, like I would say maybe like the first 2 years, I wasn't 100% like confident, in my approach with people or when I walked into certain rooms. But you grow out of that eventually. I think a lot of people go through that. Maybe some people go through that at a younger phase and some people go through it at a later phase. I'm glad I went through it, in my early 20s, because now, I'm 34 and like I have no issue. You could put me in a room with the president and you could put me in the room with a dishwasher and you're going to get the same results.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
so Nick, something that that I respect on your end is being in a industry that is so, like I said when we started, nocturnal. Where you got some crazy hours. You're a family man. You're a father. You're a husband. How do you manage your schedule with such like on one end chaos and on the other end just like peace and serenity? So what's that balance for you?
Honestly, that's like the most common question that I get asked, just like
Really?
by people that I meet in person or whether it's on a podcast. And it just comes down to like managing your time correctly. And that's one thing that I think I continue to get better at. I don't think you could like master time management, because as you become more successful, your schedule gets more hectic and you have to, invest your time into different things, not necessarily the same things that you were investing 6 months prior or a year prior. And it's still something that I'm working on till this day. I'm really big on just like seeing things. So I have to-do lists everywhere. I have like a master, I have like a master sheet. Then I have like the sticky notes that are inside like my laptop when I open it up, and that's like priority stuff. And then I have like another to-do list. Like I write so many things down. My phone, I use that, my calendar invites, I put my to-do list on my phone. It's just about really knowing what's important, what needs to get done now, and what could wait.
Okay.
My priorities change every week. I am busy. Yeah, everybody's busy. But my schedules is always changing. Like I remember during F1, Miami back in May, I was going to the race. I went to the race all 3 days. So I had to compromise a little bit. Like there was no gym for me those 3 days. I didn't pick up my kids from school those 3 days because F1 was in town. There was a lot of important people that I wanted to follow up with, and new people that I wanted to meet. And that requires me traveling, to go to the stadium and having to spend hours there. It's just, it comes down to time management. I'm not perfect at it, but I think I'm doing a good job, and I'm still working on getting better at it.
Well, let's talk about this past weekend then. I know you were out Friday, Saturday. So when
Yeah.
you know you're going to be out late, being a father, being a husband, what does that Friday going into the night look like? And then being out till sunrise, what does this Saturday look like for you?
Yeah. So like, let's say I wake up Friday from work the following, the previous night. Let's say I wake up at 2 p.m. The first thing I'll try to do is, something for me, alone time, whether it's me going on like a nice little 30-minute walk, or whether it's I go to the gym, or whether it's me having to check emails. It just depends on how I'm feeling when I wake up. Then, at some point throughout the day, I want to do something with my family, whether it's 30 minutes or an hour. And then, you got to get ready for work all over again. It just really depends on how busy my schedule is, what I got going on, if there's anybody in town that I want to hang out with, before work. But I'm managing to get it all done, but it's tough, man, because it's normal to work 40, 50 hours a week, but it's not normal to work those hours overnight, getting into work at 10 o'clock and then going to bed at 8 a.m.
Wow.
Well, and obviously the weekend is the busy time, long hours. Monday through Thursday, is that on site or can you work from home? What does that look like?
Oh, no, 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 no. There's no working from home. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of work that's done at home.
Yeah.
Like the job, it's 24/7. But as far as like clocking in and clocking out, I'm doing all of that at the nightclub. I'm not working from home. I might be answering the emails and doing, admin work at home, but I'm not clocking in for that. That's just like work that's getting done outside of the nightclub.
Yeah.
So during the week, what are your hours within the club?
So I work 4 days a week. For the first 7 years we were open, I was working 5 days a week. So that was, it was a lot of wear and tear on the body, working 50 hours, maybe excuse me, sometimes even a little bit more than that. And then after the pandemic, I was able to switch my schedule around a little bit, and now I'm working 4 days. So I go in on Wednesdays, and then I'm out of there on Saturdays, and I have Sundays for Tuesday off. And my shifts could be anywhere from 8 to 10 hours. It just depends really on how busy it is.
So, like on a typical Saturday, what time do you get in? What time do people who are buying tables and there to party, what time do they get in? And then what time do they have to leave? And then what time do you and the staff have to leave?
So I'm arriving anything between 10 p.m. and midnight.
Okay.
Guests that have reservations are arriving around the same time, between 10 p.m. to midnight, and they're leaving whenever they want to leave. There's
Wow.
no cutoff time. That's the beauty of it. If you want to pull a 24-hour shift, by any means, keep the staff busy at 1 p.m.
Wow.
So 11's 24/7. Is it the same ownership as Space?
No, no, two different hospitality groups. We are neighbors,
Yes.
and we're good friends, but it's two different ownership groups.
So I've never been to 11. I've been to Space, but not 11. So for me or
Come
anyone
on. We
listening,
need to
what makes
change that. We're gonna change
I've
that
been to
after
none of
this.
them. We're gonna be there in December.
what makes 11 special?
It's a no-brainer for me on this one, and it's another frequently asked question, and it's just the experience. It's the most unique experience that anyone could get when they walk into a club that they cannot receive anywhere in the world. It's simple. It's a no-brainer.
Now, when you travel to these Tokyos, I'm not sure where else you've been, but when you travel globally, does anything come close?
No,
No.
definitely not close. Don't get me wrong. Every place is special and unique in their own ways. You can't take away from that. But when you want to compare other venues to 11, it's it's they're in different categories.
For somebody listening right now who's never been, wants to go, and they just have some questions about like what's the capacity, what is the average accommodations, meaning the tables, what are the tiers, and are you able to just go like GA? How does it all work there?
So the beauty of 11 is that everyone gets in, right? It's a big club, but it's not huge like the way people, portray it to be. But everybody gets in at the end of the day. We have people that are locals and people from all over the world that come in there and want to experience 11, even if it's just, for one time while they're visiting Miami. Don't get me wrong, you might not have a table reservation. Maybe you didn't purchase a pre-sale ticket and you might have to find yourself waiting, 15, 20 minutes in line, but everybody gets in at the end of the day. Our dress code isn't super, super, super strict the way some of these other places are.
Are us
And
three
what's
getting in
funny,
right now with what we're wearing?
100%, you guys are dressed great. You know me, you're not going to have any issues whatsoever.
Okay, that's cool.
Everyone gets in, and that's the beauty of it. Like you're walking in there and you're seeing, the older gentleman in a suit with his wife in a dress, and then you look to your right and you're looking at some guys that just graduated college that are, in jeans and a t-shirt. You have the foreigners, you have people from all walks of life in there, and I think that's the beauty of it. Is you meet
Yeah,
people from all over the world.
Yeah, that's awesome.
that is beautiful.
Nick, for someone listening that wants to get into the hospitality space, what's one sacrifice they're gonna have to make?
Their time, honestly, their time. For the first 7 years that 11 was open, I've said this before to my bosses and to my coworkers, I put everything in the back seat and in the passenger seat, like my personal life, my social life, uh, my dating life, everything was in the passenger seat and in the back seat. And then all that I was in the front seat driving was in my career. I was just career driven. And I made a lot of sacrifices. I missed some holiday dinners. I wasn't able to go out on dates sometimes. And then when the pandemic happened, I was without a job for 8 months. And then I basically like settled down. I started a family and I put my personal life in the driver's seat. And then my career was in the passenger seat. But now I find myself, 5 years, going on 6 years, honestly, 6 years later now, where I'm ready to put my career all the way back into the driver's seat again because of the expansion with the hotel and all of that. And obviously, I want to continue excelling in my career. So now it's time for me to make a switch. That's the number one thing you're going to have to sacrifice is your time.
Well, and since joining at 23 years old to now, how has your ability to think big also transformed?
It's transformed a lot. I mean, I've the dreams that I had when I was 21 are still my same dreams. And I always saw like what I'm doing now, like creating content, speaking at universities, things of that nature. I always saw myself doing these things when I was much younger. I think you have to have a vision and you have to envision yourself and see yourself in the big house and see yourself with a beautiful family and see yourself getting the work promotions. And I think that's what it all comes down to, just having a plan, working towards it and foreseeing yourself in those situations.
Nick, what would you say is your dream? Something that you haven't accomplished yet?
My dream career wise has always been to own my own nightclub, to develop hotels, restaurants. It's all fallen under the hospitality sector. And those are still my dreams till this day.
On the hunt for legendary wings, Buffalo's in Bloomington, Indiana, and Carmel, Indiana has you covered. Crowned top 10 wings in the nation by USA Today, our wings are a fan favorite. Dip into Mrs. Louie's famous sweet Q sauce for that sweet and tangy kick. Visit Buffalo's and wing it like a pro. Who are some people in the space that you admire?
Man, I started off, admiring, like the Tao groups, the Noah Tepperbergs, the
Yep.
Jason Strausses, um, Jan, who's this French guy in Ibiza that owns all like the number one clubs out there. There's a lot of different people. Some of the people that have been inspiring me more lately over the past like 5 years are Will Guidara, who's like an award-winning author.
Oh,
He
yeah,
was
he works
Unreasonable
books with
Hospitality.
TBD.
Yeah,
Yeah.
correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
He
What's
was
his book?
actually the
What's
guy
his book
that
called?
Unreasonable Hospitality.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
so he was the guy that actually inspired me to pivot towards creating content and doing public speaking. And it was something that I already had wanted to do. And then after I read his book, I was like, you know what, it's time that I speed up the process and start moving towards that direction. And then another guy that's inspired me a lot lately is Danny Meyer, who's the founder of Shake Shack.
Hmm.
Oh,
Okay.
cool.
Yeah. And he's actually the guy that mentored Will Guidara.
Okay. Will
Yeah.
Guidara is out in New York, right? He had
Correct.
Michelin
Yeah.
star. Yeah.
Yeah. He was the owner of 11 Madison Park, and then
Yep.
he took it from being one of the top 50 best restaurants in the world, and under his ownership, it went to number one in the world for 2 consecutive years.
Wow.
Sweet.
Nick, what was your prep like going to Harvard and speaking to students about hospitality? What were some key highlights that you wanted them to leave with?
So my prep, it was like the prep that I did. So that Cornell was my first speaking engagement. I did that 1 year ago. And then we spoke to 3 different classrooms, and it was like a total of like almost 200 students. And then that was the first time that I ever did any real form of public speaking. And then my second opportunity to do public speaking was when I was in Tokyo, when I spoke at One Oak to their entire staff. That was more of like a training course, but it's still public speaking at the end of the day. And then right when I got home from Tokyo, I spent 1 week in Miami. And then the following week, I took off to Boston to do the speaking engagement at Harvard, which was at Harvard Law. So we spoke in front of like about 30 students that were all studying to become entertainment lawyers. So we were talking about, talent buying, how we, draft up contracts when we're booking DJs and artists, and talking about how when we do collaborations with other hospitality groups, what the contracts look like when they're trying to use our brand, the 11 brand. And the preparation wasn't hard. We put together a presentation, and it's all about topics that we're very comfortable with. When you're passionate about something, whether it's sports or it's hospitality, yeah, you have to do some preparation, but you're speaking off your head, off the muscle, because it's something that you're passionate about. So you don't really need to prepare so much. Like, I'm not reading off of flashcards, or I'm not reading off of the projectors. I'll look at the projector. This is the topic we're speaking on, and then everything's just coming straight off the dome.
Yeah.
When you're passionate about something and then you're trying to do public speaking about it, I think the only preparation you have to do, the only fear, at least for myself, that you have to overcome is just the audience, like realizing like, okay, crap, like I didn't go to college. I'm at Harvard Law right now about to speak in front of 30
Amazing.
well-educated people. I need to make sure I don't sound dumb.
Yeah. That's awesome.
That's the preparation.
That's cool.
How did an opportunity like that to speak at Harvard fall into your lap?
Networking. It's so simple. It all started with the Cornell stuff. So the way the Cornell stuff unfolded was I had a student from Cornell reach out to me on LinkedIn, and he needed some help with consulting for a startup that he was creating that was it was under the hospitality umbrella. I won't get into so much details. And I basically told him, I go, look, I'm going to help you out. I'm going to give you all of the consulting that you need, and I'm not going to charge you anything. I'm going to do it for free. But what I want in return is I want you to make some introductions for me to all of the hospitality professors, all of the hospitality clubs. I want to meet the presidents of the club. Can you make some introductions? He ended up making a few introductions, and that's how I got my foot in the door with Cornell.
Nice. Very cool.
And then when we did Cornell, we wanted to keep going. So I said, let me see who we know at Harvard.
Who's we, by
So
the way?
so what I mean by we is myself, my boss, who is one of the operating partners for 11 Miami, and then our academic specialist. So
Got
it's
it.
the three of us that do these speaking engagements at the universities. So when I wanted to do Harvard, I was like, who do I know that went to Harvard? And I actually remembered this one guy who was a OG promoter, like club promoter from Miami that went to Harvard, and now he's alumni. I called him up and I'm like, hey, I need a favor. In the 15 years I've known you, I've never asked you for anything, but can you make a few phone calls to the people that you know at Harvard to see if they're interested in having me, my boss, and our academic specialist come in there and do a speaking engagement based on 11? He made a few phone calls. After like 6 months of going back and forth, we were able to confirm two speaking engagements. One which was in the classroom at Harvard Law, and then we did a panel that same night that was more focused on just hospitality and entertainment, and it was all because of my network and networking. That's, it's all about relationships, like I said earlier.
And one of the things I love about your content, Nick, you're very vocal about networking, and most people in your space, I would imagine your one of few is your LinkedIn presence. Are you an outlier there? Do other club promoters do that?
I would say I don't see promoters on LinkedIn. I do see a lot of other hospitality professionals on it. LinkedIn was something that I got on back in like 2015, 2016, maybe at latest, and it was all because of my father. My father's like, hey, you need to have a LinkedIn profile. It's like what all the professionals use. And at first, I didn't think much of it. I just like created it, but I didn't really like apply myself to it.
Yeah.
And then come around like 2018, I really started to take it serious. And then I would say in the past 3 years was when I just like went all out, like really on LinkedIn. And it's something that like I use now more than Instagram some days.
So, Nick, your father, when you were 21, 22, 23, he did not encourage you to take this career path. And now that you've gone down the road, you're 10, 12 years older. How does he feel about where you are now?
I mean, he's definitely proud, which is important. I think everybody wants to make their parents proud at the end of the day. And I don't think he believed in me the way I believed in myself when I was 23, 24. I think he just thought it would be a phase and that eventually I would get into something else. But I was able to find success for myself, and I was able to do other things, outside of the nightclub. And I don't think he thought it was going to get to where it's at. And it's like, it's at where it's at now. Like, I'm happy, but I'm not, I want more. I want more for myself.
always.
I want to accomplish more things. I want to make more money. I want to get more awards, more achievements. I want to continue to climb up, the corporate ladder. And I'm far from where I want to be, but I have found success, and I think he's happy. He's happy about it.
Beautiful.
In order to accomplish those things, like more money, higher status, more everything, right? Just achieve more in life. What are some things you look to do in 2026 to ensure some of those accomplishments?
Over the past 2-3 years now, I started working on like building a personal brand, right? Using this big platform that I have to do great things outside of the nightclub. One of those things that I've been, investing my time in is creating content. Another thing I've been, investing time in is doing public speaking. And eventually all of those things will generate money. But just like when you start off in anything, you're not going to see the results right away when you start going to the gym. When you create a business, you're not going to be rich off of the business immediately. So right now I'm just like building the foundation. That's what I'm doing. In 2026, I'm looking to continue to stay hungry and continue to stay curious and continue to work hard in my 9 to 5, which is, 11, continue to do great things there. But I'm also looking to take it up a few levels and work on my personal brand as well in 2026.
Well, Nick, the thing I love about your content that it's very universal. It's not advice that is meant for one thing or the other. Even though you work in hospitality, the advice applies to all areas of life. I think that's pretty cool because I saw it, and I personally am not too involved in hospitality, but the advice you were given is for everyone. It's just for life. It's just good things to know.
And I do it that way on purpose. Like at least the stuff that I'm gonna publish, on social media, I want my advice to be universal, like how you said, in business, where I could teach somebody about sales and networking and communication and how to build relationships. And those four topics are things that anybody could take with them anywhere. Whether you're in tech, whether you're a sports agent, whether you're a car salesman, it doesn't matter. I want to teach things that are really big in hospitality, but other professionals could also take with them. I don't want to just stay in the hospitality bubble.
What are some more things you wish people knew about you that they don't see on your social media?
Just like the person that I am outside of the club. And
Mm.
it's I choose to leave it that way. I used to be big on, posting, my kids, my family. But then I from one day to the next, I said, you know what, I just want to keep my social media strictly professional. I don't want to involve other aspects of my life, and that's just where I'm currently at. Who knows? Maybe in a few years from now, I'll decide to promote more of my personal life. But for right now, I don't. But I wish people knew how much of a family man I was outside of the club, because it's not something that people think when you think of a nightclub manager. Like they think of a nightclub manager as this guy that's going out every night, staying up late, hanging out with all types of people, and waking up and doing it all over again. My life used to be that way, but over the past 6 years, it's taken a big turn.
How old were you when you became a father?
I just turned 30. Yeah,
Nice.
when I
What was that
became.
like for you? How did the hunger rise when that came to be?
I always knew I wanted to have kids. I always wanted to have like a big family. I grew up like single child, and then when I was 16, my mom had my brother. So it was like a big
Yeah.
Mm.
gap between the both of us. And I grew up in two households, like my parents, co-parenting. So I always wanted the opposite when it came down to my life, in my family. So I said, you know what, I want to have a big family one day. And the minute that I had my son, like my whole life changed, bro. Some people think that, your life changes for the worse, that you're losing sleep and you're not focused. But if anything, I got locked in 100 times more. Like it really motivated me just to excel in the office and excel at home as well.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
a lot
Special.
more pressure, huh? In a good
Oh
way.
yeah.
In a
Yeah,
good
because now
way.
imagine, you guys start this podcast and you make a promise to the three of you that you're going to do this for 2 years, and no matter what the outcome is that you're going to just do it for 2 years, and then you could reevaluate. And then one year comes and you're thinking about quitting, and then you look over to your kids and they're looking at you and you're like, wow, if I quit, yeah, I'm not only quitting on myself, but I'm quitting on these kids
Mm.
too.
Well
That's
said.
how you have
Yeah.
to, that's how I started looking at life now, because you have other people that are depending on you.
None of us are fathers. I'm 25. Ethan and Evan are 24. Like none of us are fathers. I don't think that day is near. Uh, but like there's so much admiration and respect like for creating a human, like bringing people into this world. Like
No doubt.
that's our sole job as men.
It is. Yeah, it really
Procreate.
is.
So
It's not for everybody. It's not for everybody. People ask me sometimes, like, oh, like I'm thinking about having children, but I'm too selfish. Like I like having a good time. Like I like to travel. And I tell them, I'm like, hey guys, you guys are great people, all three of you. You guys have good hearts. You help people out. But just because you're a good person doesn't mean you're gonna be a good father.
beautiful.
I feel like something that happens or something that should happen once you have children, you right then and there have to put them ahead of you. And what happens when you don't, I mean, it speaks for itself.
Yeah, then you start becoming selfish, then
Mhm.
you start becoming that absent father.
Yep.
And those are not two labels that I wanted.
Nick, keep being in the heart of Miami, like right in the thick of it. Do you live in a home? Are you in a high rise? Like what is your situation?
No, so that was the high rise was my lifestyle
Yeah.
for from the ages of 21 all the way up to 30.
Okay.
Right when the pandemic hit, I moved out of the city. So I lived between South Beach, downtown, and Edgewater. I always lived like super close to the club. And then come the pandemic, you know, once we found out we were having a baby, we were like, oh, you know what, I'm gonna get out of here. And I moved
Yeah.
a little bit more down south into an apartment, and then now going on 2 years I've been in a house. But I live like 20 minutes away from the city. I'm not far from it, but I love it because it's a healthy balance. Imagine, I'm going to work 4 nights a week in the city, traffic, loud music, the lights, the music, and then I get away from that and I come home and it's like I'm low key now. I'm
Yeah.
not bumping into people that I know. I could go to the gym and work out and not have to have a million conversations. And it's a good balance for me and it
Yeah.
works.
Nick, being in that one of the party capitals of the world, I would argue, Miami, you've definitely seen some crazy shit. What is some of the craziest shit you've seen, whether it be at the 11, whether it be just in Miami in general? What's something that comes to mind that's like, whoa, that was crazy?
Man, it's so many things. Like honestly, like the first time I ever saw somebody spend $100,000 in one night, that was like insane.
Yeah, that's
And I
wild.
was like, wow, like people really have like money, like it's not real. Watching somebody spend 100, 200, 300,000 in one night, that was mind blowing. Watching celebrities, I'm not gonna throw names out there, come in and requests all sorts of outrageous things, or watching celebrities tip outrageous numbers to staff. You really see it all. A lot more. All of it's positive. Every now and then you might see something stupid and wonder like, oh, why did that person just do that? But it's a lot of things, and majority of it is stuff I wouldn't even talk on camera about.
Couple fights
Yeah.
here and there.
Yeah.
Yeah, not really. The
No,
fights, it's
not an
it's
11.
yeah, not at
I
11.
know they
Our
won.
our security team are real professionals, and
That's good.
they know how to use the right words to prevent these situations from happening before they actually unfold.
Good.
So Nick, you live in an extraordinary place. You've lived an extraordinary 34 years of life. What advice do you have to anyone listening who seeks to live an extraordinary life themselves?
So I wouldn't label my life extraordinary,
Mm,
right? Because what I consider extraordinary is far from what I'm currently doing right now.
okay.
I would say I've lived a very blessed and fortunate life, 100%. I'm very, very grateful for that. But the advice I would give somebody that wants to live, a life, a meaningful life, a life where you get to have options, a life where you get to take care of your loved ones, take care of your friends, and a life where you could inspire others and you could also teach others. What you have to work on yourself is the things I said earlier, finding a passion, making sure that it's lucrative, and then once you figure that out, coming up with a game plan, finding a good platform, whether it's something that you create on your own or it's a platform that already exists, working hard and then staying consistent. Because when you work hard, it's easy to work hard for that weekend, for that night,
Yeah.
but can you do that all year round? That's
Yeah.
what's going to separate somebody that's good from somebody that's great. And the main one I would say is finding a mentor or multiple mentors and staying curious, asking a lot of questions, staying fresh in their minds. And the last one that I'll end it with is being aggressive when you're going after what you want. You cannot expect for your superiors to wake up one day and think, hey, you know what? Nick deserves this, or I think Nick would want this. Let me give him this pay raise, or let me give him this promotion. Um, that's not how it works. Don't get me wrong, you might get lucky and you might be in the right place at the right time and you might get that big promotion, you might get that big bonus or that big payday. But I believe that the people that are communicating what they want to the right people and they're actively working towards that are the ones that are going to win at the end of the day. And that's something that I've been doing since day one, staying curious, asking questions, getting positive feedback, putting myself in the hot seat. And I think that can't stop because every boss has a boss.
Amen.
You don't ask, you don't get. So
Yeah, and even when you do ask, you might ask it, you might not get the answer that you want, and then because of that, you're going to automatically start thinking negative. Oh, life isn't fair, or this person got what I deserve. Like, let me stop working so hard. Like, screw this, screw that. But even when you don't get the news that you want, or you don't see the results that you want, you might fall into like, you know, a dark hole, but it's important to get right back out of that dark hole the next day at least and
Yeah.
continue to work towards what you want.
Totally.
It's
Well,
happened to me. I've fallen into comfort zones. I've been
yeah.
passed up on promotions. Like I've been through some stuff that, I've been able to look back at, and it's made me a better professional. And, I hope that I never have to go through those things again.
Awesome. Well, Nick, based off this conversation and everything I've learned about you, I think time to consider the Nick Manca Show 2026
Yeah.
podcast. What do you think?
I've been thinking about it honestly because, the beauty about working in hospitality and the beauty about having a podcast like yourselves is that you get to network and meet so many different people from that are in so many different professions. And then when you tap into their network, like right now after this episode is uploaded, you're tapping into my network because now I'm going to be uploading stuff with your profiles on it. And people are going to watch your profiles and they're going to follow you and they're going to engage with you and vice versa. And I want to continue to grow my network. And I was thinking a lot, over the past year, like what is one way that I could do that? And one way is by creating content, whether it's a podcast, whether it's doing interviews, whether it's short clips, but it's doing it with my network. And it's something that I've been considering, and I just might do it this year.
Well, the beauty of the podcast is, for the content perspective, it's two birds, one stone. You get the content and you get the networking at the same exact time. And the
Yeah.
content provides value to everyone.
And you
Yeah.
make a lot of friends too. Like
Yep,
people
well
forget
said.
that everyone you have experience with, good or bad, that once you go through life and have these experiences with people, the good experiences, those are people that become friends. And I consider every person we've had on the show a friend. Someone that would call up if I needed advice, knowing that they probably have an answer.
And it's funny you bring that up about, start doing a podcast with somebody and then they end up becoming a friend of yours. And that's something that, I talk about a lot to my team. And when I do these speaking engagements or these trainings, is the goal in hospitality is when you have a client, and just to put this out there, at 11, we don't like to use the word client. We treat everybody as a guest, because when you treat somebody as a client, they're just a customer. It's just transactional. But when you treat somebody as a guest, it's like, you have guests over your home. It's a whole different experience. So when you treat it, when you have a guest that you have just connected with, the goal is to transform that guest into a friend, right? Because I don't want to sell an experience. I don't want to sell a table to somebody one night and then I never see them again. The whole goal is to connect with them and to build a relationship that could last for a long time. And then the relationship eventually should get to a point where it's a strong, healthy relationship where you guys are still doing podcasts together, but you guys are also going to the gym. You guys are also talking about some business ideas that you could collaborate with and help each other out with. And maybe you want to start a business, and now that guest that you had one day will invest in you because of the 10-year relationship that you guys have had together. You can't just look at it as like a one and done in this business, whether, we're just doing a podcast, it's one and done. Maybe I'll talk to you in the future. You came by the club tonight, I took care of you, it's one and done. Maybe I'll see you in the future. That's not how it should be going.
Agreed.
Well said.
I feel like so many people overthink it too. Like, they think you gotta have all the best equipment, like yada yada. You really just need a camera and someone on the other end, and you can create a piece of digital art. So, yeah, dude, love that mindset. Hope you do it. Would love to be a part of it. Would love to see your success in that sector. So, Nick, proud to consider you a friend now. It's been a lot of fun. Thanks for being
My
the first
guys.
in this new setup. This is
Yeah,
dope,
A lot
bro.
of fun.
That was
Yeah, I
awesome.
like it a lot. I think you guys should continue to do it.
You got it, brother.
Thanks,
We'll
brother.
be in touch when we're back in Florida. Wishing you a strong week ahead. Wishing all of you guys a great week ahead. Nick, anyone listening, they want to keep up with you and your work. What's the best way to do that?
Just follow me on social media, Instagram and LinkedIn. It's my full name, Nick Steven Manca. So hit the follow, connect with me, send me a message, and I would love to engage with all my new followers that are coming from this episode.
Good things,
Beautiful.
brother. Good things. All the best.
Thanks so much, Nick.
Yeah, thanks for having me,
Hey,
guys.
brother.
164.